I saw Mr. President at the media chat, and I think that there was a certain kind of messianic arrogance that he put before the people. He scored himself excellent. And in the face of harrowing poverty, harrowing despondency, harrowing want, in the face of stampedes for food, hunger-born stampedes, in the face of Nigerians not knowing what the true value of their currency is. As you and I talk, we have about the most devalued currency in Africa. As you and I talk, we have about the least minimum wage in Africa. As you and I talk, I don't understand where, and I think that it's about the minders of the presidency and those who are around him. They have given him this impression that he is the all-knowing King Solomon. He is perhaps Plato's man of gold. He is perhaps the king who does no wrong. And so there's this imagery that, because I watched that interview and I said to myself, who has done this to our president? This is the point at which our president should come humbly to Nigerians and to tell Nigerians that he's doing his best. He will tinker with the policies. You don't tell me that your removal of subsidies cast an iron all over the world. Energy, petroleum are fundamental components of national life. Even in America, there's subsidy for these fundamental issues, including food, agriculture. So I don't understand where they get these policies. And those who applaud him, I don't know what they mean for this presidency. But I think that the minders of this presidency are not careful. They're not sincere. They're not true to what they say on paper. And I truly wish that in the next few days, our president comes around, comes across, and gets across to people who can tell him the truth. Because the truth is simply that our economy is doing badly. The truth is that no matter the statistics that you have, if it does not affect food on the table, you are perhaps in search for Godot.
I think I want to start the conversation this morning by speaking on something that has become, public conversation across Nigeria, and it is the dozens, maybe hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that you might see if you drive across Bodilon this morning in Lagos or anytime today. There's the street in Ikoyi called Bodilon where Mr. President's residence is. If you drive across that street, you will come across a long, extensive line of people not waiting, in line for, job applications, not waiting for their visas to be approved, but waiting at Mr. President's gate for possible handouts that would be given to them. Yes, this is a clip from someone who drove by Bordelon yesterday or a couple of days ago. There's multiple videos of people who have passed it. None of these people here are waiting, in line for a job application or, for a job interview. None of these, that would even be scary, even if that was the case. None of these people here is waiting for any other thing. They're not waiting in line at a supermarket to, do their Christmas shopping. They're not waiting for any other reason that you might see, or maybe at a stadium to get into the stadium to watch their favorite team play. They're waiting at Mr. President's gate for handouts. And you see this video showing both the young, the old, men, women, all, ages and all sexes at Mr. President's gate waiting for handout. This is the very likely current picture that you might see if you pass by Bordelon this morning. Now, I mean, it's nothing new, right? This is not new. It is just worrisome because this is the president's gate. And I'm starting because I want to know. I struggle to imagine what Mr. President thinks when he looks outside his window or looks outside his apartment and sees that number of people waiting for handouts. What does that say to Mr. President? What does it represent, in Mr. President's heart? Is it worrisome or is it normal? To be honest, for a lot of people, it's normal. This has always been, regular culture. Even before Mr. President, got into Aso Rock, while he was governor, after he became governor, it's been normal. And it's not the only place. To be fair, it's not the only place that this happens. In Northern Nigeria, it's also regular culture for top political figures, politicians, governors and the likes. In the Southeast, if you go to, I think I've seen it at, Arthur Eze's Gate in Enugu State, you would see pretty much the same thing. Maybe not as, with this number of people, but you would see a, crowd also gathering and waiting for handouts. But I believe that it should disturb Mr. President. When he steps out of his house, if for any reason he has to drive out of his house, it should disturb Mr. President, because this is a proper representation, not of, people who really just like handouts, but a proper representation of the level of poverty and hunger that currently exists in Lagos State, the state that produces the most amount of money, or that makes the most amount of money every year, generates the highest amount of money every year. That is a proper representation of the level of poverty that has struck Nigerians, and of course in Lagos State.
nan da mun ka kama sun ka ce rahoton da mun ka samu ga manyan 'yan ta'addan nan da mun ka kama sun ka ce muna to akwai wata shawara da ake yi amma shugabannin Najeriya sun san da ita shine akwai wani daji da aka ce ma gaba nan wajen Sokoto ga gayinsu yake dajin nan ana son a maida shi tsibiri ne na 'yan ta'adda waɗanda aka ce ma lakurawa wannan wasiƙa ta rijejeniya watan mars wata na 3 rana 4 ga wannan wata an ka yi ta tsakanin 'yan faransa da iswap don wannan rijejeniya budewa wurin da aka ce ma na lakurawa cikin dajin gaba can za a budewa wani tsibiri wani gungu da 'yan ta'adda ne za su watsuwa wannan Sokoto ne Zamfara ne Kebbi ne duka za su watsuwa amma ya ce muna wallahi shugabannin Najeriya suna da labari to mu sai mun ka ɗauki zancen nashi ƙarya shi kai dan bai son mu ba Najeriya wannan bayanin ne tunda muna dibin da mu da Najeriya Allah na tuba ba ta yiwa mu ji abin da zai cuta musu mu ɓoye shugabansu na rahoto da bayani mun ka kiraye shi mun ka ce mai to kaga abin da Faransa ke da niyyar yi tunda ba mu yi tsammani ba ya ce to yana turowa mutane su zo su kwashi isasshen rahoto ya turo mutane gidan kaso nan Yamai ne cikin ƙasa ne babu inda ba a kai su ba sun ka tattauna da 'yan ta'adda tunda ba guda ba biyu ba 3 ne mun ka kama abu ne da nasiri ne ba za a gayin shi ba sun ka tattauna da su sun ka gaya musu ga abin da Faransa take son ta kirkira sun ka koma da wannan rahoto sai da baya ne kaico mun ka gane da zamba cikin aminci da baya mun ka gane sa'annan har an yi ɓanna tunda mun aminci mun ka bi ashe ba haka bane
So I'm going to do a quick interpretation of that. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you all for coming back. So let me quickly go here.
I saw
So
Mr. President at the media.
what he's saying is, according to the president of Niger Republic, General Abdurrahmani Chiani, the Nigerian government was very much aware of the formation of the Lakurawa terrorist group. You guys remember the new terrorist group that they just found out, right? But ignored it. Okay, he says he personally reached out to the NIA and NSA to tell them, and even sent a delegation. Okay, this is from Chidi Odinkalu's page. Let me go and let me read it further, because he had more to say about it. Sorry. So here. Okay, there we go. So he said the delegation to Niamey spoke directly with the captured terrorists in Niger custody, only for Niger to later find out that indeed the Nigerian government is aware of the movement by France to create a space in between Sokoto border with Zamfara to accommodate the new terrorists. Where is this? Okay, that's it. Let me go back to my bookmarks. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm trying to. Okay, that's about it, really. So that's exactly what he says. So, hey, Nigeria, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even going to sigh about it. I'm not going to make a noise about it. We all see the handwriting on the wall. It's up to us to do what we need to do. When Nigerians are ready, they will do what they're supposed to do. Because to be honest, it beats me. I don't understand it. Where there's so many things happening. It's not like you even have a glimmer of hope anywhere, and people are still sitting back and not doing anything about this mayhem that is going on. When these people were laying out the red carpet for Nigerian president to come, they brought band and was singing what do they call them? Those two twins song. I knew that your president has signed off. He has signed. If he never send Nigeria finish, okay, we have that on the one hand. Then you now have the Yoruba Muslims against the not all the Muslims now, not all the Yoruba Muslims, the Yoruba fanatics, the Muslims amongst them, against the liberal Muslims that are pushing back, moderate Muslims that are pushing back against this, against the Yoruba Christians, against the Isheshe. How many fights do you people want to be fighting before it is time to wake up? Because me, I'm not understanding how long we're going to continue like this. I'm not understanding. This man is looking for every way to. He has broken Nigeria in many ways that we cannot even imagine. Look at his media chat. All the people that came for his media, all the journalists, not one could ask him questions. Not one could push back. We know he was not voted in. No sign of accountability, nothing. You heard what this man said. He has a messianic attitude towards Nigerians' problem. We are dealing with somebody who thinks he's a god in Nigeria. Do you know how disturbing that is? No matter how much you cry, he doesn't care. He is unmoved by your problems. He doesn't care what your problems are. He's the one he wants to do that he wants to do. This man is enjoying himself. He never expected to meet such docile Nigerians. Do you know what it means when you have French military? You think that's where they're going to end the military base? It will expand. And the question I'm now wondering, what are the northern elite, so-called elite, them? All the noisemakers that come and be shouting, making noise. What are they saying about it? Did they not say they were going to resist French military base? What is going on? Everywhere don't quiet. Nobody is saying anything. And you people think that these French people will just come and they don't have their own ulterior motives. The mining, when they suspend, they have lifted the suspension so that French people can mine at your expense. Meanwhile, you don't have peace in your land. Your president don't care. Your representatives don't care. All those northern leaders that know how to shout and talk, where are they? All those northern leaders that used to come, anytime it does not favor them, they are very quick, they are loud. The terrorism they were petting as a teddy bear, it don't turn to another thing for their head. Where are they? Where are they? I'm asking. Where are they? During Jonathan's time, they don't let us hear word. Where are they today? They were banding together. Where are they? We will not allow a military base in the north. Where are those people? Where are they? Where is their mouth? Me, I'm done. I'm not going to shout. I'm just going to present the facts to you guys. As you see, as we see them, I'm going to bring and come. You know why I'm going to be doing that? Because I don't want to be complacent in the evil that's going on in Nigeria. I don't want anything that's going to affect any of the people that I know and all the innocent people in Nigeria. I am hoping that by exposing and doing my own part, that the innocent in Nigeria will somehow be protected. I am hoping against hope until Nigerians are ready. All we know how to do is to analyze, speak English, PhD in analysis, PhD in strategy, PhD, and you don't get PhD when I never hear for this my life. When Nigerians never get. Some even get fellowship on top. Still yet, according to Nigerian English, still yet, they are the most illiterate people I've ever seen, the most ignorant people I've ever seen. Person when never go school at all better pass PhD holders for Nigeria. It better pass. You come to find out some of your traditional leaders are part of the people sponsoring terrorism in your state. They will collect money from all these terrorist funders and close their eyes while they carry out mayhem in your communities. And you people are aware. The people will choose a candidate that they want to work for them. Your traditional leaders will go behind and go to Aso Rock to go and be begging, kneeling down. People that you will be saying, oh, they will go to your traditional leaders that you people worship like they are the gods. They will go behind you and go and kneel down for another human being behind closed doors and tell you that they prefer a candidate that is malleable, so that they can get their desire. They can take more innocent blood, suck it with no consequences. You people will come and be speaking English and be telling people to be respecting traditional rulers. Oh my God. Please, they should release that woman that wanted to do good. Maybe they used her to achieve their aim. Is it that former wife of the Oni? They should release her. I beg. It's the only women that they quit hold. They know they hold the men when they call the catastrophe for political. Now the women that they get powerful. This one now, women no go see this one open eye or no. They do dumb. Now the ones when go with the one way will give them money, all they care about is materialism, money, my children, that's all. No vision, no purpose, nothing, empty, vanity, all vain. My brother, Mr. Manuel, welcome. Oh, thank you very much. I wish you the same. Oh, thank you. I appreciate. I wish all of us strength too. I'm wishing you strength as well, my brother. Thank you. Exactly. They will come, analyze, be speaking English. Oh, sure. Now they speak English past the people when they even get the language. Ask them now whether they fit speak their own native language. They'll come tell you, say, it's been a long time. I've been away from home. I can't remember how to speak it again. And you are not ashamed. You are not ashamed of yourself. If you want to brag about how much you can speak your language, how much you can speak your parables, how much you understand your language. Not be another man language when they force feed you with all nothing to show for it. Una go school finish, go learn how to be evil to your people, how to squander the destinies of your people. That's all you people know how to do. As I dey fear people when go school for Nigeria, and I think say na joke. I go school, not me say I not go school, but omo, I rather not even talk about the school. Me, I just shut my mouth. I beg, there's no need. With all the school when I go, how many I don't fit to use and bless my people for us. I never feel use and bless my people. Go back, implement the things when I don't learn, use the skill when I get to take better my people. I never fit use them. Come to social media every time, morning, afternoon, evening, they speak English. They support the evil for Nigeria because you are being paid. Payday, they come for everybody. When that payday come, please accept that payday quietly. Don't come to social media and be disturbing our ears. Because you see, my mom will always say 99 years is not forever. This suffering is not forever. What Tinubu is happening in Nigeria is not going to be forever. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know it's not going to continue forever. My only hope is that it should end now. That's my own, because I see the suffering and I'm moved by it. Exactly, Mr. Manuel, my brother. They go speak English. You use English, finish people ear. Now they sabi English pass. They want to speak the English, the one that you don't know, they want to speak it. Meanwhile, they are planting military bases around you. You people sit quiet. They don't use religion. They don't use and throw a spanner for now. We now. I wish I fit bring this thing. They're not transcribing for English. I wish I go bring and come the full video of this interview with this man. I don't know what it will take for Nigerians to wake up. Oh, I don't know be life una they live. Oh, I don't know what it will take. Una not even really need to many like that, because this cannot continue. We cannot continue like this. It's not normal. It's not normal. The painful part be say young children are growing up in that mess, thinking that it is normal. Una they look and they see and like say normal. I wish I get my Hausa speaking people for here today. Maybe they can help us break down this interview, because I really want to know. Because a full interview the man give. Full interview. Now the man about say terrorists, they even Nigeria, they don't know since. They don't know. It's crazy to me. And with everything that's happening, people are quiet. All the northern leaders, when they are mad, they sharp. They are mad, they sharp. They rake up and down. Say and night, don't they their front door, they're not going to their feet do, because why? They encourage the teddy bear in the first place. They turn terror and say it's our children. It's our children. They don't put the base for na corner now. What you now want to do? That's the real question. What are you people gonna do about it? What are people going to do about it? Eh? Let me bring this 9-minute video to you people. Eh, when I know rich I go do. I know if you do pass my power. Wallahi. Soft life, I can't. I never see people when they see this kind evil, they continue. Eh? Nothing. I know they do anything about them. No. And then of course, Kenneth Okonkwo gets an interview recently. I'm going to play for you guys.
President Bola Tinubu has instructed the Nigerian military to eliminate banditry in 2025, according to the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Mohammed Matawale. The government plans to deploy additional troops and military equipment to the Northwest Zone. Matawale says the military is focused on tackling the challenge of informants within local communities who aid bandits, hindering efforts to combat the threats. Insurgency in Nigeria, primarily driven by Boko Haram and its offshoot ISWAP, has significantly impacted the country, especially in the northeast. The conflict began in 2009 and has since escalated, resulting in widespread violence, displacement, and loss of life. As of 2024, an estimated 350,000 people have been killed due to insurgency. Over 2.5 million people have been displaced, particularly in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states, which remain the epicenters of violence. Joining us right now to discuss the lingering insurgency in Nigeria and how realistic President Tinubu's deadline is to the military or for the military to end it by 2025 is Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, former spokesman for the Air Force. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday, and Merry Christmas.
Good afternoon and Merry Christmas to the viewers.
Of course. Let's begin. Now, how realistic is this 2025 deadline given the evolving nature of insurgents' tactics?
Thank you very much. Now, while it is good for the president to sound optimistic, however, when you look at the fact that we have been fighting this insurgency for 15 years now, insurgency, not only insurgency, there is banditry, there are other kidnapping issues, schools attack, and the rest. I like the president sounding optimistic, but realistically, can we say something that we have not been able to do for 15 years, passing through 3 sets of governments? It's something that can be eliminated by the year that is starting in the next week. Unfortunately, I would have to say no. I also listened to what you said from the Minister of State for Defense, that the president has said eliminate banditry by 2025. Now, whatever project, whether economic project, whether security project, you have to give an objective that is smart, something that is measurable, something that is time-bound, something that is measurable. That is relevant and also achievable. When you say eliminate banditry, that is neither here nor there. First, it may not be achievable. Secondly, it needs to be smart. You have to establish clear objectives, define specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant and time-bound smarts for the security operations and the security agencies. For example, we've had the NBS report, which you have quoted. Now, we can take that as a baseline. And then the president is, by the middle of next year, or by the first quarter of next year, I want you people, whether it is military, whether it is police, whether it is DSS, to reduce the numbers as given to us by National Bureau of Statistics, reduce it by 30% or reduce it by 40%. So now you have given them a time. Unfortunately, not only this government, even the previous governments, it is not what we have been doing. We have not been given a clear objective to the security agencies. We will eliminate by 2025. It's not going to be possible. But if we can have a reasonable reduction so that NBS at the end of or at the middle of 2025 will give us a figure that is less horrendous than the one that we have. So this is what I find. The president has spoken through the Minister of State, but honestly, the statement is neither here nor there. Just eliminate banditry is not there. You have to give them clear objectives. You have to develop clear, comprehensive data collection system, because even the NBS figures are being disputed, sometimes by government agencies, sometimes by NGOs. I don't want to question, as a researcher, if they say there's a National Bureau of Statistics of any country and they give me figures, I think I need to lend credence to those figures because it is a government agency. So what we should be doing, which we have not been doing, is to give time-bound, measurable objectives to the, to the security agencies, which we have not been doing. Establish key performance indicators for them. I want to see the number of refugees or IDPs reduced by so percent. I want to see the number of insurgents captured or killed increased by so percent. I want to see the number of kidnappings reduced by so a percent. And by this time, if we don't do that, then honest, all we're having is a political statement, which we do respect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done. Even the president before him have done. Every year we're having a new. When we have a particular setback, the National Assembly will call the service chiefs or the Inspector General. We are passing a vote of no confidence. But then there is not any clear objectives or key performance indicators given to them. What I am saying here is that while the security agencies are actually trying their best, but even as a former security man, I have to say the duty of the political masters is to keep track, is to oversight the security agencies and ask them to account for what they have been doing. Unfortunately, that is an area that is not being done in this country. So we have to have that change. I also hear from your background saying that the Minister of State also said the government is going to add more equipment. Again, as a military strategist, honest, I have my issue with how we even purchase equipment. What metrics do we use to purchase? It's not every equipment that is convenient for the armed forces. So, but what I see is that, whenever any equipment is demanded, we just go and buy it. Now, the military as a body will make a request. But I think, and this is an advice to the federal government, the government should have an objective, independent body that tells them this kind of equipment, is it what we need? Is that where the money is supposed to go? Because, honest, when you look at the budget that we have been spending since for 15 years now, security is almost, if not first, second or third in the order of priority.
Well,
and
Group
when
Captain,
we're talking about the budget, we're speaking about security. Everybody knows, or at least people know. It is not only the budget that you see in the national budget in the National Assembly. You know, there is a lot of off-budget releases done. So if we are to sit down and calculate what we have been spending on security, honestly, the amount is going to be very, very humongous.
Group Captain.
But do we follow the money? We don't follow the money.
Allow me to interrupt you. Going on that same train of thought, what role does technology play within this security architecture? And also in order for us to keep to the deadline, and also the roles of regional allies?
Well, technology is always a force multiplier for any military operation or any security operation. However, we should not unnecessarily think that technology is a silver bullet that will solve all the problem. At the end of the scale, you still need right-thinking commanders, right-thinking human elements that will even interpret what the technology is bringing. And also, technology has a setback. Because technology, sometimes it lulls you into taking precautionary measures. When we talk about technology, like for instance, for drones, we've been having serious, collateral damage with drones. So what does that tell you? Even the drone has to be used intelligently by the operator. It's not that the drone has a brain of its own. It has some features that will make you collect info, but interpreting and actually how you carry the operation, the human element is always there. Talking about regional cooperation, unfortunately, again, this government came in to have problems with our regional allies. When you look at our security situations, it has to do with our neighbors. International relations experts, I think since the time of maybe Shagari, they have talked about this concentric circles, starting with Nigeria, starting with immediate neighbors. We must do all efforts, to have a friendly relations with the neighboring nation. If we don't have friendly relations with Chad, with Niger, with Benin Republic and the rest, certainly what happens to them is going to spill over there, or the bad guys here can always seek refuge in those countries. So the role of allies is very, very important. Nothing is too much for Nigeria to maintain friendly relationships. The multinational joint task force, since the advent of ECOWAS versus Niger Republic, we have been having problems. We have to find ways of smoothing out those relationships, because what affects them affects us. And, whatever, if we don't have those, glitches smoothened out, we'll continue to have problems.
Well, Group Captain, it was great to have you this afternoon here on Newsday. Once again, thank you for joining us, and Merry Christmas.
I see you, Mr. Jagun. Welcome. Greetings to you. Dr. CM, greetings. So thanks for stopping by. Water don't really pass Gary. Very, very. Yeah. Mr. Jagun, a lot of Nigerians get English when they fluid. A lot of Nigerians speak English more than the Englishman. So that one no hold any water. People should be bragging about how well they can speak their native language, not English. Please. The English has not helped us in any way, shape, or form. So anybody that is fluid in English, please keep it in your pocket. That's not solving our problem right now. We need people who can speak the native language and have native intelligence. How about that? We need that. Native intelligence. That's what we need. Oh, sorry. This is not the video I want. No. This is not it. This is not it.
This is how to get in shape fast.
Limousine type of vehicles on the roads. Well, we should teach management with all our programs. We have to manage our resources within our means. There's no way out that you give out fuel and allow all the entire neighboring countries as Father Christmas. I don't have any regret whatsoever removing the subsidy. It is necessary. We cannot spend our future generations' investment upfront.
Or do you think it should have been phased, done in bits?
It is part of the fear that is unnecessary. Phased, no matter how you cut it or you slice it in segments, you still have to meet the bills. So, cut your coat strictly to your size. It's what we must manage. Management is the issue. And we have no choice but to pull the handbrake. Otherwise, we are headed for slippery slopes.
Coat according to your size, says Mr. President. I do find that with that particular phrase, many people don't quite understand how that works. Do you cut your coat according to your size or according to your cloth? Because if I was going to talk about saving or living according to your means, it means that you should cut your coat according to your cloth. So if your cloth is not enough to make a suit, you can make shorts with it. That's how I see it in my head, but maybe you think differently about it. But joining us to discuss some of the things the president said and more, joining us live in the studio, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo is here, legal practitioner, former spokesperson of the Labour Party, and columnist. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you, viewers, for joining in.
And joining us via Zoom is Mr. Jesu Tega Onokpasa, a lawyer and APC chieftain. Thank you so much for being with us on the program, sir.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to start off with Mr. Okonkwo. Let's talk a bit about this presidential broadcast. Well, this media chat. It's the first time he's done it since he came into office. Some people have said there's kudos for that. At least at gathering the media to get our very own Malkwe Ogun Yusuf was there. You saw her asking him that question about the removal of fuel subsidy. Should it have been tapered, she said. And he said, why? Why should it have been tapered? And then she said, well, maybe some kind of contingency plan. And he said, what contingency? What are your thoughts on that particular conversation?
Well, it's very...
So I wanted to quickly address, the Jago, you were said something about people not believing, this whole military base in, well, the military base in the north. Well, the president of Niger, Chiani, the new one, has confirmed it. I just played the video. I don't know if you caught that video, and there's a longer video, but it's all in Hausa. I'm waiting for maybe a transcription of it so I can bring it. It's about 10 minutes or so long. So yeah, it's been confirmed. The military base is around that area. Okay, so let's continue to speak English.
Regrettable. First and foremost, in a democracy, which requires transparency and accountability to the people, a president is having the first presidential chat 19 months after taking over power. That's about 40% of his presidency. 19 months is about 40% of the 4-year term of a president. We have to stop all this nonsensical giving kudos to failures. For 19 months, you've not been able to tell Nigerian people what you have been doing. And you started doing wrong things from the day you were sworn in.
But he has been
Fuel
speaking. He has
subsidy
done
is
briefings.
gone.
He has been giving speeches. He's been explaining himself since he came into office.
Democracy is not about your talking to the people. It's about your being interrogated by the people. The Constitution says the participation of the people in their government shall be ensured. The people participate through their representatives, both from the media, both from any policy you want to do, has to be interrogated by the people. Democracy is not just about doing what is good for the people, it is also about doing what the people want. Now, let's come to the nitty-gritty of the presidential media chart. There were about 4 major branches of what he said. Talked about the stampede, talked about cost of governance, talked about corruption, talked about the tax reform bill. These are about the major areas. About the stampede, this president shifted all the responsibility to the organizers, people who wanted to help people who are hungry. Let me tell you, this stampede happened in the east. It happened in the west. It happened in the north. That means it's now a general thing that Nigerians from all sectors are hungry and things are hard. They did not die in stampede because they were poor. Poverty exists in every country. They died in a stampede because they were desperately hungry. In other words, they know that if they don't have that food, they don't even have anything to fall back in their house. And that is why they had to struggle for 5,000 naira and for grains of rice. The worth of life in Tinubu's government is now about 5,000 naira, and it's about grains of rice. Look at what happened in Abuja, in the Catholic ministry. They've been doing that for decades. They've been doing that for years. Why is today's own different? It is different because people have become desperately hungry. When people say negligence of the people organizing it, people that were expecting like 500 persons and they saw 5,000 persons, they wouldn't have reasonably assumed that 5,000 persons will come. And when the 5,000 persons came, they would have been able to organize themselves if they were not desperate. But because they were desperate, they did not wish to ever live there without having anything. Having seen that more people came, they knew that some people would live there without anything. So they had to now struggle to make sure that they are part of the beneficiaries. That is a sign of a failed state, struggling and dying for the most basic necessity of life, food. When the president visited Lagos the first time, his own people started it. We are hungry, sir. And he said things are well. His dim-wit fellow people that are serving him will go to him and say things are well. And when he neglected those signs, by August, the whole nation, they were protesting for hunger and hardship. They neglected it. In December, people are now dying of stampede for food. for 5,000 naira. Now, and he said, it is the fault of the organizers, fault of the people that want to help. You are incompetent government that cannot cater for the security and welfare of its people. Now again, let's move into the issue of cost of governance.
We'll get to the cost of governance, but I want to get Mr. Nokpasa to respond to that. Mr. Nokpasa, well, Mr. Kenneth has said he's finding some issue with the president's views on the stampede. Where do you stand?
There are lots of VPNs out there at all different price points. Many of them are even free. So, should you use a free VPN? In this video, we'll break down the advantages and the disadvantages of free VPNs to help you make an informed decision. But first, let's talk for a moment about how all VPNs work, both free and paid.
When you connect to a VPN, you get a different IP address that is shared by many other people, which masks your real identity and location. Besides the privacy benefits, this can also allow you to access sites and services that may be restricted where you are. Your traffic goes through an encrypted tunnel that should, in theory, keep it secure and private.
If your goal in using a VPN is just to temporarily change your IP address and privacy isn't really a concern, then a free VPN may be useful. You might be able to, for example, read articles on blocked websites or watch videos that aren't available in your region. A free VPN is likely to be slower than a paid one, and it will almost always offer fewer choices of location. It's also more likely to suffer outages or simply not work on a site you're trying to use. If you find one that works for your situation, you might be okay, but it might not be the safest idea to use a free VPN for the long term or for anything more important.
After all, running any VPN service costs money. If a provider doesn't charge you a subscription fee, then it must be recouping those costs somewhere else. Some may offer a paid tier, while offering a much more limited service for free. The difference between the free and paid versions is likely to be substantial, but if you're not expecting much, it could work. Others may simply cut corners, offering weak or non-existent encryption, or engaging in poor security.
Well, the stampede is most unfortunate. May the lives that were lost, may their souls rest in peace. I think the real problem is that we have just failed woefully in producing food for our citizens. You know, when we are campaigning for this administration, the people were calling us Agbadorians, you know, because our president was always talking about producing food. Unfortunately, we don't seem to be able to produce the food, you know, and you just have to accept that's our fault, you know. The good thing about agriculture is that you can plant a crop today and harvest in 3 months, in 6 months, in 1 year, you know, and try to convince our president just to concentrate on food production. Even if we cannot reduce the price of fuel or whatever else, let our people have food to eat. Let our citizens have food to eat. You know, Kenneth is trying to be overly political about the matter. That's just who my dear brother Kenneth is. Okay. May their souls rest in peace. You know, and it's a shame that we have allowed prices to skyrocket, especially of food. You know, of food. Let people just have food to eat.
That's my take on it.
I mean, that's a very interesting dynamic. I mean, an admission, because you are a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, that is an admission of failure, you know, and one that I think you're standing by.
No.
Because what you said in the beginning of this conversation was, we have failed. What did I hear it wrongly? He said, we have failed to provide food for our people, and that is just it. That was what you said. So are you admitting that as a party in governance, when it comes to food production for the Nigerian people, has the party failed?
Yes, we did. No. Because we did not concentrate on food, on providing food for our citizens.
Have an issue with your project management software? Let me guess. Multiple projects, multiple deadlines, needy teammates, and
Because we did not.
I mean, I'm still hearing the same thing from you, Mr. Okonkwo. We'll get back to you, Mr. Onokpasa, on that, but that does sound like an admission of failure.
Well, you know, I so much enjoy my brother Onokpasa because he seems reasonably, honest. I used the word failure, I think, about once, and he used the word failure about 5 times. So, and yet he said I'm political. And actually he echoed, more than myself. But having said that, God forbid that I will play politics with the destiny of Nigeria.
Because that is what the All Progressive Congress accused opposition. Actually, was the PDP that they were responding to.
Yes,
and they said you're playing politics with this.
That is the cheap blackmail that failures always do. Rather than addressing the issue, they shift the responsibility. Have you ever seen this government? When they say they take responsibility, I wonder which responsibility. The worst statement the president made in the presidential chart is scoring himself excellent. He said he has done excellent job. The man that is staying with me in this studio is an Abadorian. And he said we have failed. Was that not an admission that this president has done the worst job by any president since independence? And I always place my facts on the table. What are the facts on the table? This president, in the last 12 months, we have had national grid collapse for more than 12 times. It has never happened in Nigerian history, meaning the power is not accessible, it is not available, it is not affordable. This president, between October and November, and this is a president that is priding itself or himself that security has improved. More than 2,496 people have been murdered and about 1,757 persons kidnapped between October and November. This is a president in that presidential chart said we should cut our cloth, according to him, according to his body. But thank God you have said good. Now, this is the president that is driving the most expensive car in the history of presidents of Nigeria, limousine beast, that cost Nigeria almost ₦1 billion. This is the president that had a presidential jet working, but he went for a new one, 150 billion naira. And this is the president that is saying, cut your cloth according to your size. Now, in the area of what has he excelled to award himself excellent?
Let's find out what Mr. Onokpasa thinks. Mr. Onokpasa, was the president right to score himself excellent?
If you're in Canada and have over $10,000 of debt, payday loans, credit cards, and lines of...
Well, no, I must admit that, because I must just admit that it was all right, because we ought to be able to feed our citizens, and it's very, very easy to do that. You just you simply just get the people to go to farm You mobilize them to go to the farm and produce food, And unfortunately, we've not been able to do that, and that is even us in our party. We feel a bit bad about what that our president has not been able to mobilize Nigerians to produce food for our citizens.
You do seem very. I'm listening to you right there. You do seem very saddened, and like Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo said, reasonably honest in your assertions this morning. What would you think? What would be a score? What would be the score? Because what the president did yesterday was call himself excellent. What would be your score for his governance style this year, at least?
Well, I can't. I'm a Catholic, Kayla. I'm a Catholic, and we have not done well. That's the truth. Simple.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll get back to you. An admission there from Mr. Nokpasa. He's an APC chieftain saying we have not done well. Is that a step in the right direction? At least if someone from the party, from the All Progressives Congress is saying, look, we haven't done well. Is that a step in the right direction at least? Maybe we're on the road to recovery, maybe.
If the president has been listening to the Onokwasas of this world, he would have been performing better in office. But he's listening to people who are telling him he's excellent. And he will come to the whole world to be saying he's calling himself excellent on the graves of about more than 70 persons that died on the eve of that score to himself because of food. What is the level of conscience that we need for a man to be compassionate for his people? Look, the facts are there. Facts are sacred. This same president, when he was told about corruption, how to fight corruption, he said, oh, I will fight corruption. We are fighting it. How? We increase the wages of the people. Oh, we are allowing people to go to school, education. Let me tell you, corruption since the fall of man in Garden of Eden is innate in human nature. And the only thing that can deter people from being corrupt is deterrence, punishment for corruption. This president has just revealed that he does not intend to punish anybody that is corrupt in his administration. The only thing that will make him to punish anybody is when you are no longer loyal. And it's happened with the humanitarian ministry. I was here when I told you it was optics. How many months now? Have those people been tried? You suspended, you removed. Has that person been tried? Now, when he talked about he is increasing the wages of people, when this president came in, the minimum wage in Nigeria was $60 per a person. Today is about $46 per person, less than $2 a day. And then you're talking about you're fighting corruption by increasing minimum wage, when actually the value of the minimum wage has reduced. That means he is actually increasing the propensity for corruption. Because you talk about currency, not in the quantity of it, but in the quality of it. $1 has remained $1 since I was born, the value of it, changing maybe about 6% or 10%. More than 56 years of my existence on earth. In 1984, we could pride ourselves that $1 was equal to 1 naira. Today, 1,900, it reached that point, was equal to $1. So we have failed about 1,900% times since that time. And there is a president sitting down telling you he's excellent. Now, let me tell you about the subsidy that he talked about. Petrol price is not 1,000 naira because of removal of subsidy. When subsidy was removed, the price came to about 517 naira per liter.
Airport Dad reserved his Uber ride months in advance. Now they're just in time.
What costs Naira, what costs the per liter fuel to reach 1,000 something is the devaluation of the currency. Now, economically, any president that is sound economically, you do not devalue your currency when you are a net importer of resources. When he devalued that currency, Nigeria was importing 100% of refined products. What it meant was that you have made your importation more costly than your exportation. And then even the government could not afford that price. That was why they had to introduce some kind of subsidy again. They removed it completely. But because of the devaluation of Naira by more than 300%, from about 500 Naira to 1,700, and it jacked up the price of fuel to about 1,000, more than 1,000. So the issue here is that there is a government that is lacking in knowledge, in economics, in emotional intelligence, and in reality. They are living in alternate universe. The problem with this government is that they are bold to take decisions, but they want to extort all the sacrifice from the people. So when they made the mistake of the devaluation, they allowed the whole impact of their mistake to fall on the people.
I want to be able
people are paying through their nose for the incompetence and corruption of this regime.
I want to be able to get what the president said. Let's just listen to him when he talked about palliatives. Let's listen to what the president had to say about that.
It is very sad that people are not well organized. We just have to be more disciplined in our society. Okay. Condolences to those who lost the family members. But it is good to give. Every society, even in America, they have food banks. They have hungry people. In Britain, they have food bank. They have warehouses. They are organized. They take tokens to be in line and take turns to, to collect. It's unfortunate. We just have to. It's reflection in our bus stops where we don't even want to be on queue before we rush into the vehicle. It is very sad, but we continue to learn from our mistakes. To me, I see this as a very grave error on the part of the organizers. But things are improving. It doesn't kill our happiness for this season. It should be. We should just get on with it.
5 words you pronounce wrong 2 years before your brain starts shutting down.
I mean, I think those were the words that really got you upset in the beginning of our conversation. And I think in many ways, those words from the president have affected Mr. Nokpasa in a way where he couldn't do. The Mr. Nokpasa that we know would have been a strong defender, and he's admitting, saying, no, this was not good. He didn't like it very much. At the time, you also mentioned, the president's stand on the cabinet reduction.
Oh, yes.
Because that was one of the conversations that was had. I think it was Mr. Babajide Titoju who asked him yesterday, how are you going to reduce cost of governance? This cabinet is one of the biggest. I know you've done some reductions before. Are you going to reduce it a little bit more? And he said no.
First of all, he never did any reduction. He had 48 ministers coming in. When he removed 5, he replaced it with 7. So the issue here is that, like I told you, there is a president that is living in alternate universe. He said we must learn to live within our means. We should not be spending more than we are producing. How can a government in a capitalist economy think about bloating cabinet as as the explanation for efficiency?
Well, he says they're performing optimally. Those were his words. They're performing optimally. Everyone there.
Good. That is where I hold the journalists that interrogated him very responsible. Because when he said that, he even dared them to give him an example of one minister that is not performing. And I just told you about a minister. We've had 12 national grid collapse in 12 months. It has never happened. If that is performance, then it is regrettable. Now, the issue about cost of governance. In a capitalist nation, a minister's role is more of regulatory because he doesn't go there to do it. There is private ownership to means of production. What are you doing with 3 ministers in agriculture alone? And people are dying because of food. You have just bloated the bureaucracy, spending money on people that are doing nothing. What are you doing with about 16 ministers of state? That is assistant to minister. And you're giving them the largesse.
They won't agree with you.
Of a minister. I am saying it.
They won't agree with you.
Because minister of state means that there is a substantive minister. That's the only reason you say minister of state.
We'll get to that, but I think we're joined by Dr. Taufik Rahimi, development expert and business economist and policy analyst. Mr. Rahimi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kayla.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kayla. Good morning, Nigeria.
Talk to us a little bit about the president's speech. You've been listening to us talking about his stand on the palliative situation and the stampedes. And then now we've moved into the size of his cabinet and his statement yesterday that he's not going to be reducing that cabinet anytime soon. And basically that they're all performing optimally. What do you think about that?
By way of simple encapsulation, I will say that the presidential chart heard yesterday came to me as one that is very assertive. The president, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, spoke with a lot of boldness, confidence, and focus on his Renew Hope agenda. He delved into what he has achieved so far in the last 18 months. He also talked about what...
Guys, the likes are really poor. What's going on now? Yeah? Hey, I beg you. Make una help me like the stream. The likes are really, really poor. Please, I need you guys to increase the likes. So I beg. Mona, click that like button. Because if you have not yet liked, please take a second. I've paused the video. Go like and then come back in. I beg you now. We have 17 people viewing and we only have what? Now it's 7 likes. Please keep clicking on that like button. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Please keep clicking on that like button. Thank you.
Currently is at work. And he also mentioned that there are quite a lot of hope for Nigeria to believe in, moving forward. He talked about how insecurity has greatly reduced. He cited the example of our citizens being able to travel from one place to the other, particularly on Kaduna Road. He also mentioned about his decision to remove oil subsidy and the effect of that already that his administration has recorded. He also talked about the issue of ministers, the size of his cabinet, which you are just talking about now, that he rooted his decision to retain them based on 2 factors, efficiency and effectiveness. The president gave quite a lot of confidence as regards other things that his administration has been doing. So I want to believe, honestly, I'm convinced that the president seems to have settled down to the job. Of course, he was prepared for the job. Now he has gotten the mandate, and he has seen some of the challenges that the countries are facing from being an insider rather than looking at it from the outside. So I want to believe that the president's speech rekindle hope among most of Nigerians. Now, definitely, are there areas I'm expecting more? Yes, of course. I'm expecting that there will be enough strategies, effective strategies, realistic strategies towards achieving most of the laudable plans that he has mentioned. So some of these I would want to see ease of doing business being enhanced in 2025 and moving forward.
Dr. Raimi,
Yes.
he scored himself excellent in his performance as president. Do you agree? That's a justifiable score?
First of all, having been an insider, and he knows the problem he inherited from previous administration, and he knows what he has done, and perhaps he also knows, is convinced about the plans that he has moving forward. He may have judged himself excellent, especially when he talked about, I think where he used the word excellent was especially when he talked about having not had recourse to NMPC in the last 3 months to collect money. Which means that he has stabilized our reserve. He has also created enough, he's growing our revenue base. So I want to believe that I think he has scored excellent in a number of his agendas. Of course, there are also a number of, some other areas that are work in progress. If you look at the Minister of FCT, the infrastructure work that is already ongoing in the last 18 months, you will say that his administration has scored excellent. If you look at some of the foreign trip he has made and the gains that we are beginning to record in terms of inflow into Nigeria, I think you will say that he has done well. If you look at how he has frontierly attacked the issue of insecurity in various ways, maybe he has done well. If you look at the refinery, the private refinery that has come on stream during his own regime, now Nigeria can be proud of refining their own crude through Dangote. I think he has done well. If you look at
what would you do in this situation? Would you use water to put out the fire? Here's what happens if you try to extinguish.
Okay, let's talk. I want to be able to take them one after the other. When the question about the stampedes came up, you heard Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo here saying that, look, he felt like the president had moved the blame away from the fact that there is an existential problem in the country to blaming organizers and Nigerians who couldn't stay well on queues and things like that, and felt that was a bit insensitive on the part of the president. Where do you stand on that?
Yes, my expectation is that maybe our president should have visited Ibadan, or your state when this happened last week, Wednesday. I know he had quite a lot of activities for this period. In fact, you will commend him for cancelling his schedule for last Saturday when he heard about the stampede that occurred in Abuja and Anambra. I think he's a passionate president. Let's give it to him. It's just that when he talk about we the citizen, it means that he believes that his government alone cannot do or solve all the problems that are bedeviling us. We require our citizens, you, myself, private sector, to be able to follow certain protocols. I commensurate with those, the 3 states, as it were, if Abuja is counted as a state, more or less, where this has happened. I don't think he's unmindful or he lacks pity. It's just that he's also saying that even when we commensurate with ourselves, what is it that we should begin to do as citizens? We should have protocol. These state governments should have protocol for large gathering. We should not wait when crisis happen before we start talking of what the government should do, what the people should do, what the organizers should do. So I am even calling for an advertised protocol by each state in case of you want to hold large gathering. Churches, you can see how the number of people that go to churches. We are a very religious country. Churches, mosques, other even parties and all that. The shows, our creative industry is becoming very, very rejuvenated, which is good. Must also begin to say that when people go to this place, are their lives safe? Would they go well and come back well? So I think that is what the president is trying to emphasize. And we must not put politics in everything. Of course, politics is everything.
Should the president reduce his cabinet?
The president and his cabinet, I want to say that even in private sector, that most or some of us have belonged and we have consulted both for private and for public sector. The underlying philosophy is always efficiency. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you have you reduce to your cabinet to 10, it will perform optimally. It does not also mean that if you increase it to 47 or 50 as it were, they are too large. I think the underlying philosophy should be efficiency, effectiveness, performance evaluation. What is it that they are supposed to do? What are their KPI? And what are they doing? And we want to see our president not waiting for another 1 year, even before he make judgment about the performance of his cabinet. I want to see like what is done in private sector within 6 months, what we call probation period.
I mean, that's a very interesting dynamic, Mr. Raimi. The fact that they moved the conversation, at least he moved the conversation, and you're doing it right now, move the conversation to the efficiency of the cabinet. But the question really was about reducing the cost of governance.
No,
are there ways that the president should reduce the cost? You can keep efficiency while you reduce the cost of governance, or is that an impossibility?
Okay, let me tell you some of the factors or ways by which the cost of governance can be reduced, even if you retain the size of your cabinet. Because after all, how much are these ministers being paid? Of course. So if you can reduce the size of governance, one, by eliminating repetitive budget items by ministries. Every year you see ministry budgeting for vehicles, whereas a vehicle should not just have its life cycle as 1 year. So you can reduce. In fact, you will gain so much by reducing cost of lithography. People buy paper, they buy photocopiers, even travels. I was listening to one of his aides yesterday saying that he had only traveled twice this year. And that is the senior special advisor to the president on economic matters, Dr. Tope Fasua. He was on another station, your sister's station yesterday. So twice in a year is not much. So I want to believe that what we should be looking at, like we do in private sector, is how can we increase productivity? If these people are productive, if your expenditure is 10 million and you generate 25 million, you are productive. The problem is when they are not productive. So that I think that is from where we should look at it. And again, I must add, the question also to ask is he legal? Is his cabinet legal, or is he violating the constitution? The answer is no.
All right, Dr. Raimi, I'm going to get back to you. I need to come back to Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo in the studio here. One other thing that the president talks about, you've heard his responses, you can respond when you're giving your response. He talks about the tax reforms. And in fact, we're seeing that as one of the major stories. And most every newspaper today, he's not going back on those tax reforms. And then he also talked about the service chiefs and security in the country. Just your views on some of the assertions that he made, especially when it comes to the tax reforms. He's not going back. People say these tax reforms are pro-people.
First of all, I listened to the last speaker. And one thing about people who want to parrot the achievements of this government is that they do not speak with facts and quantitative analysis. What figure did he state whatsoever to support any of his analysis? The inflation rate, what is it? Food inflation, more than 40%. I bought the bag of rice that I used, 109,000 naira. Now he talked about Buhari's government. The truth is that Tinubu's government has beatified Buhari's government. He inherited 195 naira per liter in terms of fuel. The inflation rate that he inherited, he has doubled it like 100%. So he inherited exchange rate for about 420 naira per dollar from Buhari. Our debts then we were indebted to about 77 trillion. Now it's about 130-something trillion. This is a president that said, if I remove all subsidy, I will have enough revenue to provide the infrastructure. And this is a president that has removed all the subsidy and is borrowing. He has borrowed more than $15 billion since he came in. Maybe more than Buhari borrowed throughout his 8 years. So when people who speak, the last speaker just came in and just said what President Tinubu said in his presidential chat and gave him a pass mark. In law, when you want to corroborate an evidence, your own evidence will be independent of what is said, not repeating exactly the same thing the person said, and now say the president scored himself excellent, so he should be excellent. That's by the way. When we talk about the tax reforms, Section 146 or thereabout of the tax bill said they were going to increase VAT from 5% to 15%. And yet he said the tax bill is pro-poor. The president said that...
So that's because particular segments of society are exempted. Yes. Particular people...
From what? From consumption?
From payment.
You go to the supermarket to buy and you're exempted.
So you're still paying it if you're going to do...
That's what I'm saying. That's consumption tax. The tax you pay for buying things. Do you see somebody and say, oh no, your face looks poor? Please, this VAT is not part of
Show me your pay slip.
Good.
So that I can exempt
and he said it's proper. This is a tax that is 800,000 per annum that they said you are exempted from paying tax. The minimum wage is 70,000 a month. That comes to 840,000 per annum. So nobody is exempted at all from that if it is left like that. And he said it's proper. What is proper? Let me tell you, I support the tax reform bill, not because it is proper, but because it is going to harmonize our tax administration system so that somebody will not wake up and more than 130-something different agencies, both legal and illegal, will be harassing you along the road. Bring the tax receipt of this, bring the tax receipt. So they are trying to harmonize the tax administration system whereby maybe only one agency will be collecting all the tax. And then you will now pay your tax, whether it's corporate, personal, this and that. It will make it easy for you to pay. Tax bill, any tax bill that increases the tax of Nigerians by 1 naira is a bad law.
Dr. Raimi.
Okay, thank you very much for coming back here. I listened to Barrister Okoko. You won't expect anything less, from him to antagonize everything the president has done. It's his opinion. But while his opinion is his, he should also be mindful not to condemn other people's appraisal. When he talked about statistics, I thought he was saying that I echoed what the president said. The president did not talk about visiting Ibadan or your state to commiserate with the people, the governor of your state, and similar states where this incident has happened. That's my opinion. I also talk about how the government, the president, can also re-energize his cabinet by ensuring that performance evaluation occurs more regularly than it is. Maybe in another 3 months, in another 6 months, he can inject new blood into his system. I also talk about reducing how to reduce cost of governance. So don't let me just dissipate energy in re-emphasizing what I said earlier. It is my considered opinion that when we see what is good, that is also a mark of patriotism. I am a scientist, I'm a development expert, I'm an economist, I know how to quote figures, but I'm also a realist. I want to relate all these figures to the reality on ground. About the tax reform,
yes,
the tax that the president said is it has come to stay. I think it should be supported, but are there areas to be improved upon? Yes. And that is why the issue of negotiation, which the president mentioned, is important. The tax bill is currently before the National Assembly. They will also, I'm sure they will, the relevant committees will also engage in public hearing. So if people like Okonkwo, our former presidential candidate of Labour, the former presidential candidate of Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, has anything to say, let him also put his thought together, and then they can be argued and debated.
Okay, so we are out of time, Mr. Raimi, but just your closing words, Mr. Okonkwo.
Well, my closing words is that this government, this president should listen to the people on the street and stop listening to people that are telling him he's doing an excellent job. He has done the worst job for any president.
Look, he said these are birthing pains, Mr. Okonkwo. He said we need time.
Yes.
When this baby is born, we will rejoice.
Yes, I've always said it, that when your wife is in labor, no matter how hard the labor is, and eventually gives birth to a monster, you will still not rejoice, even though she has given birth. It's only when she gives birth to a bouncing baby child that you rejoice. If you give birth to a child and it is stillborn, the child is dead, do you rejoice? Anytime this president goes to celebrate on Christmas, a lot of people die. Last year, more than 200 persons died in December when he went to visit on holidays. This year, 70-something persons died. Do you celebrate when people are dying? This year's own is of hunger. No, if this president going on holidays brings about these deaths, let him remain in Abuja. Let's know where our problem is coming from.
Okay, we do have to wrap it up there. Well, I want to thank you very much, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, legal practitioner, former spokesperson of Labour Party, for being with us here on the program. Thank
Okonkwo is the man. Any day, any time. This guy comes with it. No pretenses, nothing. That's how you say it in their faces. Look at the other man that they brought in. I didn't even bother. I don't care to know what his name is. Look at the way he was talking. Just imagine. Taking sides clearly. Ah, wow. Nigerians, una don't hear am. APC. Hey, if you don't do anything about APC, that's how 16 years under APC. If not, what am I saying? 17 years under APC of mayhem and terror. Look at in Edo State, the local government chairmanship elections that took place that they suspended, right? Guess what? They had people with cane, agberos, with cane in their hands to prevent them from coming into the local government councils. Can you imagine the audacity of that all? They all had canes in their hands to flog any local government chairman that dares. Edo State is gone. Nigeria is gone. Mona forget. You see the problem Nigerians have. Until Nigerians are ready to confront their problems. Now here we go there. Your traditional leaders, they sell you out. They sell you out completely. They're the ones who they will go behind you and go and beg this traditional. They'll go and beg the people that you are worshiping. Oh, my king. Oh, this, that. They go behind and go and lick wash plates inside T-Pain's house and go and dobale for him to give them what he wants, what they want. That's what they do. And it's even worse now because their compensation or allocation comes from the federal government. Why do you think that is? Whatever T-Pain says, T-Pain gets. That's why we have the kind of governor that we have in Edo State right now. The people did not vote for that man. The people, there's no way anybody will open their eye to vote. Of course, the people collect money, yeah. But it was obvious that man was imposed on the people. Okay? Because some traditional rulers behind the scenes went to go and beg because they can control him. It's easier, and they will get whatever they want from him because the man has no clue, doesn't know what he's doing. So all those people that voted for Aso Egodalo, that makes sense. Don't let anybody gaslight you, because I've been saying some people have arguments and you hear some people gaslighting, say those state should be people have na lie. Don't allow them gaslight you. They know the truth. They just want to get under your skin. Their traditional leaders they went behind to go and beg T-Pain for this mumu that they gave you in Edo State, so that they can get whatever they want from him, because the man will be forever loyal to them and he will do as they please. Okay, so all those people that people are worshiping, oh, my traditional leader, they are house boys to your federal government, just so you know. Okay. You know, anyway, my talk no pass like this, so I don't share my link. Anybody that has anything additional to add, come up and add. If not, I call it a day. We continue again tomorrow. For those that are not tomorrow, for those that are doubting, for those that are doubting that, oh, the French military base, whatever, yes, it is real. Okay, I would have brought the interview, the longer version, but it's only in Hausa and I don't understand Hausa. I'm looking forward to someone who will be able to transcribe it in English for people to understand, but I haven't found that yet. Okay, so yes, Chiani president, the man in Niger, has said that the new terrorist group that is in Nigeria is being sponsored by your government. Okay, even though your government has come out to deny it, they said they've been aware of that terrorist group because they informed them. With the people that they captured, some of the people that they captured made them understand that the Nigerian government is aware and they know they ain't gonna do shit. More mayhem in the north. Okay, so to my West brothers and sisters, my Yoruba brothers and sisters, you people should not allow Sharia in your place. So, na play, na clap, they say they enter dance. Do not, I say, resist with every fiber of your being. No. Do not accept Sharia in your state. It will be detrimental to your generations. Not only will they wipe out your your heritage as a people, they will wipe out your destinies and they will wipe out everything about Yoruba culture. You will not have, your names will not be the names that we know. They will now turn to another man's name. So, hey, I don't talk my own. Now, where I know rich, I talk rich. So, my people, it's been real. I will see you guys on my next live. Cheers.